Now, yesterday in my community section on my YouTube channel, I posted a poll asking you all if Keir Starmer should call a general election right now. And out of 23,000 of you who voted, 96% said yes. People do believe that Keir Starmer should be calling for a general election. There were quite a few people outside Downing Street at the weekend as well, calling for him to resign. Now, this man, Keir Starmer, the man who slithered into number 10 with all the charisma of a soggy biscuit, if you know, you know, promising to fix Britain while looking like he's perpetually lost his car keys. The question on everyone's lips, or at least on the lips of anyone who's still paying attention, is whether this guy should call a general election. And as you've just seen, you know, it's not looking good for Captain Cautious. Now, let's get one thing straight. Starmer's Labour government hasn't exactly been in power long enough to warrant a fresh election. They swept in last July with a landslide so big it could have buried the Tory party in a shallow grave, and yet here we are, not even a year later, and the air's already thick with grumbling. Why? Because governing is hard, and Starmer's making it look like quantum physics for a goldfish. The man's got a majority the size of Jupiter, but he's governing like he's auditioning for a spot on the parish council. Should he call an election? Well, let's weigh it up. On one hand, the bloke's got a mandate fresher than a supermarket avocado. July 24 wasn't exactly ancient history unless you're measuring time in TikTok trends. He's got 5 years to play with, and calling a snap election now would be like folding a winning poker hand because you're worried the table's wobbly. Plus, let's be honest, the opposition's about as threatening as a kitten with a paper sword. The Tories are still licking their wounds, and Reform UK's Nigel Farage is too busy tweeting to organise a proper campaign. So strategically, Starmer's got no reason to go to the polls. He's sitting pretty, or at least as pretty as a man can sit when his approval ratings are racing to the bottom faster than whale shit. But here's the other side, and this is where it gets juicy. People are fed up. You can feel it in the air, like a smell of burnt toast on a budget speech. Starmer's government promised change, big, shiny, hopey, changey stuff. Instead, we've got tax hikes, energy bills that make your eyes water, and a winter fuel allowance cut that's left pensioners wondering if they should burn their furniture to stay warm. The X platform's buzzing with it. Posts from ordinary folk saying they feel betrayed, like they ordered steak and got served a vegan sermon instead. And don't get me started on the small boats. Starmer's smash the gangs plan sounds tough, but it's about as effective as shouting at the tide to go back. Illegal crossings are still happening, and the public's patience is thinner than a supermodel's waistline. Now, I'm no fan of mob rule, but when your voters start muttering about pitchforks, it's probably time to listen. Starmer's got a problem. Trust, or rather the lack of it. Polls, yes, I know polls are about as reliable as a weather forecast in a hurricane, but they're showing Labour's lead shrinking faster than a cheap t-shirt in the wash. YouGov had them neck and neck with the Tories a few weeks back, and that's after the Conservatives spent years turning themselves into a political punchline. If Starmer called an election now, he'd be rolling the dice on a public that's already got buyer's remorse. Here's the thing though, he won't do it. Why? Because Keir Starmer's not a gambler. He's a lawyer, and he know he'd lose. A man who'd rather draft a 50-page risk assessment than take a punt. Calling an election now would be admitting he's lost control of the narrative, and that's not his style. He'll cling to power like a limpet on a rock, hoping he can turn things round before 2029. And good luck with that, mate. The economy's creaking, the NHS is still a basket case, and the only thing you've delivered is a masterclass in looking earnest while the country groans. So should he call a general election? In a perfect world, yes. Give the people a chance to say, nice try, Keir, but we'd like to speak to the manager. But he won't. He'll hunker down, blame the Tories, blame Brexit, blame the weather, and hope we'll all forget about how much we're paying for our shopping. And that, my friends, is why politics is the art of promising the moon and delivering a street lamp. So there we go. I'm past 49. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, stay sane if you can, and I'll catch you at the next one. Roger Trout.